Here we go.
Bongo Slave.
Negative K, nothing further, just take care of me in the corner. That's a direct order. Do it now.
All right. Good afternoon. We are Roll Call, Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. I'm here with a few of my friends. Let's see, we have Jerry, we have Will, we got Ty, we got EC, we got D, we got Derek, we got Rich, we got Dave, we got JT, we got Mark, we have Cheech, and we have Jim. I'm actually doing something else right now, and Will's going to keep us going. But before we get started, we want to have a moment of silence. We want to have a moment of silence on for our fallen officers and military. Thank you so much for that, D. Thank you so much. Before we get started, we want to keep in prayers Cheech and his dear wife. We'll keep in prayers JT and his wife, Mark, who was under the weather but out of it now. We're still praying for you. We're praying for the rest of you and your families and your loved ones. Keep me and my family in your prayers. Next week, Tuesday, would have been my son's 31st birthday. The following day, the 10th, is my granddaughter's birthday. And at the end of the week, the 13th, is my wife's birthday, and it's also Mark's birthday. So I want to get that in before I forget, even on next week, that we got to celebrate those birthdays. And also for our member Reg. Reg is not on with us right now because of the obligations, but Reg is one of the persons that assist us with certain things during the year. Today is his fraternity's, I think it's 119th anniversary of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, celebrating their anniversary, their Founders Day today. So we want to make sure we remember them as well. I mean, Dave and I always remind you of ours. That's coming up, J5, January 5th. It's coming up. But we want to remember Reg and his fraternity as well. Today we got Will. Will Quick is going to lead us in our conversation. I'm going to be jumping in and out because of where I am. I'm in meetings and in and out of meetings, but I'm going to turn it over to Will. If I forgot anything, Will, you can take it from here.
All right. Hello. How's everybody doing today? Good to see everybody, all the good faces, and our listeners and watchers on Facebook Live. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday and continue to extend into the rest of the holiday season. But without further ado, we'd like to go ahead and get started with our statement of purpose. Rich, you gonna help us out with that?
Oh, of course. But Cheech is going to go ahead with the disclaimer first, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. Cheech, by all means.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Before we get started, we wanted to go over a couple of things. First, want to let you know that the comments made by our members are the opinions of each individual. They are not intended to be legal advice for anybody. Please remember that the laws change from village to village, city to city, state to state. So consult with a local attorney or your local police department for any legal advice. Also, in order to spark our conversations, we do display videos or photographs, some of which may be graphic in nature. They are not intended to offend anybody. A member of Roll Call will let you know if we are going to play any that are graphic. Also, these videos or photographs are not the property of Roll Call. We get them from social media like YouTube and TikTok and Facebook, all that good stuff. So you do have access to it. Also, we like to let you know that everybody here speaks from the heart. So the language used is very spontaneous. It's not intended to offend anybody. So please don't take offense to it. You will see that sometimes we do not agree on things among ourselves, but we never take it personal. So we hope that you don't take it personal. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will try to get back to you, or any suggestions, comments, whatever. We will get back to you. Thank you. Rich?
Thank you, Cheech. Well done. Once again, we're Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We're a pro-law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism, and Black and Brown Lives Matter. We're here. This group started because of a rash of Black people being unalived by police officers, unarmed. That's how this group started years ago. And we're going to continue to monitor law enforcement, critique. But once again, we're pro-law enforcement. So we just want the equitable policing going on, and we're glad you're here with us.
Appreciate that, fellas. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's why we got you all saying it. But we'll give a love to some of our loyal watchers and listeners. Donald Coleman, Richard Bowden, Sylvia Butler, Ruth Cathy. Ruth says she's looking forward to catching you on Sunday. So I take it that means that you all will be attending service at Reverend Butler's spot. And we got all our crew with us. So let's jump right into it. D, I think you got something for us.
Okay. Afternoon, everybody. Our first video is going to take us to Charlotte, North Carolina. We had some questions every once in a while about undercover officers, and now with this ICE, and you wonder why we harp on the fact of how you're dressed and how you present yourself when you're doing law enforcement exercises. This video is going to show you exactly what happens when you don't properly identify yourself. Could be a life-changing experience. Let's take a look.
Only on WBTV, new video sheds important light on the devastating consequences of a federal task force bust gone wrong.
Yeah, the video comes as a result of WBTV fighting and winning for its unsealing in federal court. Investigative reporter Naomi Coles walks us through it.
It's the early morning hours of November 1st, 2019. A man walks out of his home in Northwest Charlotte. Moments later, an FBI task force waiting outside closes in as he runs back into the house. From Gastonia Police, this is Task Force Officer Clarence Belton. These are his task force partners, and this is CMPD Officer Heather Loveridge and her partner. They're not on the task force, but according to court filings, they've been called in for perimeter support. The task force has a search warrant as part of a drug investigation. What's about to happen after this man runs inside has become the subject of controversy and a lawsuit that spent years slogging its way through federal court.
I've got 45 years of law enforcement experience.
This is Dr. Roy Taylor, who I asked to watch the video with me. He's a police litigation specialist and longtime police chief with experience on federal task forces like this one. He has no connection to the incident or the lawsuit, but he researched both at my request.
Here, I'm going to start it right before the suspect runs into the garage in the house.
Belton and his partner, just off screen, are about to use a battering ram to take down the door. When they do, court filings say a woman is standing there, just off screen, with a gun pointed at them. Belton and his partner shoot. Belton feels his arm go numb, his gun drops, and he collapses and will testify that he crawled and stumbled out of the garage while continuing to take fire. It's hard to see here.
It adds legitimacy to the fact that he was actually crawling. There he is right there. You can just make out his profile.
As he crawls, CMPD officer Loveridge fires at him. Records say it was 14 times. Loveridge would testify in court. She had heard the shots fired in the doorway, saw no officers left in the garage, and thought Belton was the suspect. Belton was the only black officer on the task force. And the suspect, Loveridge had been told, was also black.
If a person is crawling toward you without a visible gun, is that something you can shoot at?
Absolutely not. Irrelevant that it's a police officer. It wouldn't matter if it was the suspect or the woman that pulled the gun or an innocent person in the house. There's no justification for firing that weapon.
Belton survived, but with permanent injuries.
Officer down, start that way.
He's suing Loveridge in the city of Charlotte for negligence. At the heart of the case, a test of the leading legal decision that governs much of the modern-day use of force nationwide. That's Graham versus Connor, a Charlotte incident that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court in 1989. It's a legal decision that Dr. Taylor says all officers, including those at CMPD, are trained on multiple times.
Her defense, this is a very quickly unfolding, dangerous situation. But again, you don't use deadly force unless there is a threat of deadly force being used against you or somebody else.
But there are larger issues at play, as this video shows. Loveridge, for example, has pointed to how difficult it was to see the words police on Belton's vest. Dr. Taylor sees this case as one where different decisions from the task force after the suspect ran inside could have changed the outcome.
This is much more than a few task force officers really should tackle. They really should pull back, secure the perimeter, and wait for reinforcements to come.
Is there a larger conversation to be had about the training and the regulations for these types of missions?
I think so.
1223, we got shots fired out here on Oakburn.
Reporting in Charlotte, Naomi Coles, WBTV, on your side.
Wow. I see, AC, you got your hand up real quick. D, can you give us some context when that initial shot was fired that he took in the arm before he went down?
Okay, the three officers, the three task force officers enter the garage and they walk. They take a triangular perimeter. One goes to the door. The African American officer goes through the door. There's a woman standing in her garage. I guess her husband or boyfriend or the gentleman in the house runs back past her, and she's standing there with her gun. When these guys are there, she starts shooting. She just starts shooting at the door. The two officers, as you see them, they run out. The two non-black officers run out. And the African American officer can't because he gets hit. So he goes down and he tries to crawl out. As he's crawling out and gets to the about a foot from the mouth of the garage, the female backup officer, the perimeter officer, is you can see her clearly shooting at him.
Okay. All right. So let's roll back to the hands that went up. AC, I think yours was first.
I want to give a trigger warning to JT because I know this don't look good to him.
Not at all. Not at all.
And also, Yeah, I understand a lot of times. I've been in a situation where you don't have a lot of officers. You got to do something. That's not a perimeter. They call it that's not a perimeter. You outside the door. That's that's not a perimeter at all. And if you're gonna go there and meet some new officers you ever worked with before, hey, look them in the eye, tell me your name, get their name, talk to them, so everybody know who's who and who you're working with. Because if I got shot like that and I ever got up, I'm shooting her back.
I could understand you feeling that way, AC. I can't say I might not feel the same way. Dave, you up?
You're muted, Dave.
That shit was a disaster from the beginning. Okay. First of all, okay, I didn't see no shields, no nothing, man. I didn't hear no police or FBI or nothing. Did you guys hear that? No. Okay. And then it was like nobody did homework. Everybody on here, we hit doors before, but we had the whole house surrounded. If the guy ran back in, we don't know if it's children in there or not, man. You're gonna get on the landline and try to talk him out. Okay, but you're not identifying yourself. Then nobody knows who the brother is. He's leading the crew up into the garage, and then all of a sudden nobody knows who he is. You get brain locked all of a sudden. Now he's a perpetrator. That's the same shit that happened to Phil Purnell, right, Derek? Purnell back in the day.
Yeah.
That's the same shit. In the subway, him and his sergeant got people lined up on the wall, tossing them, and a female cop shoots him. This shit is ridiculous, man. And then the way they're dressed, you got these white dudes with these worn out baseball caps on. The brother ain't got no hat on. And then you got a couple uniforms back there, and I don't see no shields, no nothing, man. If that was a drug house, my man is thinking another drug gang is hitting them. They don't think, man. And then what about the neighbors? You got kids in the house, man. Now this shit's a fucking 4th of July shootout. It doesn't make sense, man. This is outrageous, man. And they were FBI agents.
They were on some sort of task force. I don't know how many different.
We got the joint task force up in New York. I'm sure you got it in Carolina.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know.
Huh?
Yeah. We just don't know how many different agencies or who. They didn't even stipulate who was leading the task force.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. We have to huddle up in homicide before we get out. We got ESU, emergency service. We got the detectives from the squad. We got us. We pick out a handful of uniformed guys and we notify task force. We all meet up, tack up, tell her who's doing what. You surrounding this, we're flushing out that way. If we can't get the guy, we're going to back out and we're going to talk on the phone to him, trying to get him to come out. And everybody put your goddamn shields out. And we're going to announce police when we hit the damn door. Even with the U.S. Marshals there, we do that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. This shit is tacky, man. That brother, man, thank God he's still alive, but he's probably jacked up for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably why he's going in the legal route, and I can't say I blame him.
I don't blame him.
Not one bit. Jim.
Shit.
What's on your mind, Jim?
You're on mute.
Yeah, I can't say too much more than what Dave just said, because that's what popped out at me right away is the lack of uniform and identification that these guys went in. I've been saying all along that a lot more of this is going to happen with these ICE raids, especially in areas like Nassau County where the police are working with ICE. So you have, identifiable police officers and unidentified ICE agents all working the same raid. It's a disaster in the making. This particular event was even worse than just identification. I mean, their tactics were terrible. Nobody announced the police. how I think they was referring to this. How in the world the uniformed local police couldn't recognize the perpetrator from the other agency? I mean, they should have been familiar with the who's who. I mean, what is this? All black guys look alike? Is that what happened here? You know, I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. And it's like I said, it's going to get worse before it gets better until somebody realizes that they're going to have to change tactics. You know, and police officers themselves that are working alongside these federal agents, you know, that aren't identifiable, they should start speaking up, saying, "Oh, you know, oh, I'm not, you know, where's your badge? Where's the police markings? You know, this cowboy stuff is going to stop. People are going to get hurt and people are going to get killed." That's all I have.
I hear you. I hear you. Rich, talk to us.
Yeah. You know, everybody basically is saying the same thing. I'm on the same note. The attire is improper. And not only for the people inside. If you're part of a task force, I believe, and what I've always seen is there's a trunk full of raid jackets. Everybody involved in that task force is going to have a raid jacket on and your vest. Okay, I'm house be a raid hat. So we all look unified. Even if you don't have your badge out, you've got a raid jacket that says, you know, police or, you know, federal agents or whatever it is. So everybody can see that. And the uniform officers are in uniform. So that just makes it, you know, you have a meeting prior to what you're doing, not an ad hoc and somebody just shows up and you don't know who's who and we just go in. That doesn't make sense. It's not proper tactics. Like you all said, the same thing. The tactics weren't right here. They weren't uniform where everybody knew who everybody was. I'll tell you what, if I got we're having a meeting, the suspect looks like me, I'm gonna make sure everybody knows, hey, this suspect kind of looks like me. And I know you think we all look alike, but that's not me. This is me. And maybe I'll just be on the perimeter. You guys go in. You know what I mean? So if you're part of a task force, you got to kind of look out for yourself as well and see who's involved in it. So just like we know in the department, certain officers weren't as tactically sound that you really want to do certain things with. It's like that all around, especially when it's a group of officers just getting together on a task force and going to handle something. So you got to look out for yourself and wear the proper attire, get organized, make sure everybody knows who's who. And if you can, have a trunk of raid jackets so everybody looks kind of the same and kind of uniform, so we don't have those kind of situations like this. This is FUBAR right here, big time. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Totally. Anybody out there think that some of our listeners might not know what FUBAR means?
Let us know, Will.
I'm checking out the comments to see if anybody bites. But the first word in FUBAR is an acronym, FUBAR. The first word is an expletive that starts with an F. And the second word is up beyond all recognition. So I'll let you put it F'd up beyond all recognition. So,
that's it.
We're trying to keep it as PG as we can with this. D, what's up, man?
All right, let me being a task force supervisor for 4 different agencies, I'm going to explain to you how this should not happen. You have to do what's called a TAC plan. The TAC plan is about 15, 16 pages. There's a page in there with everybody who's going to be on the TAC plan, where they're from, and in some agencies, pictures of them, so that this doesn't happen. And that was here in New York City. I wanted to put that out there because there were no, there are rules, man. I know we're in a clown world where the rules don't apply anymore, but if you're going to do a raid, search warrant, arrest warrant, sneak and peek, I'll tell you what that means later, all the different warrants, there are rules and policies. You don't arbitrarily walk into a garage. There are rules and policies. When you do a warrant, you have to bring this, whatever you get, even the body, back to a judge. You're not in charge of that warrant, the judge is. Come on, Kyle. I don't get to do whatever I want to do and then it's over. I got to explain everything that I do to a sitting judge. First, probably to the DA and then the judge. I wanted to say that because this was done willy-nilly. Just they're walking up, they're going into a guy's garage. It's all wrong right from the beginning. The second thing I wanted to just tell everybody, there's a thing called contagious fire. And that's what you got to be aware of. One person starts shooting. Don speaks about this best. Just because one person starts shooting, everybody just starts shooting. Well, I got a question for this. What you shooting at? You're not even shooting where the shots are coming from. You're shooting at a person crawling. Anybody else other than me see something wrong with that? Just because Will shoots don't necessarily mean I shoot. The rules don't change because another officer shoots. I'm still responsible, and the policies of your different agency and policing at whole, they still apply. We want to liken this to what's going on with ICE. That's why we're fighting that, because you don't even that officer didn't even look like an officer. If I'm looking from here up, he's taking an L. I'm sorry. That's why we do hats. We do anything. You're covered up to here. You got shields hanging out. Everything that says police on you. It's not because you're a buff and you want to look like a cop. A buff means a person that wants to be police. That's not what we are. It's just I need to be identified. Multiply that by 10 to the plainclothes officers, the task force officers, because the other guys got uniforms on. When they show up, I know it even happens there, but they're supposed to know each other. And looking from behind, and all I got is a flight jacket on, I could look like the guy that just walked in. A lot of things are wrong with this. Just arbitrarily shooting 14 times at an area and not know what you're shooting at, you don't belong to be here. You're not supposed to be here. I'm sorry. I don't want anybody to lose their job or their livelihood or lose their house, but that's the problem. You don't just shoot at something, because the question is asked, well, why were you shooting? What were you looking at? What did you see? There has to be those reasons. If you look at why so many police officers get shot, at the beginning, we do that, and I do that because so many police officers get shot because if you know what the rules are, you almost have to be getting shot at before you shoot. Tick, one tick. We got to take a tick off. We can't just arbitrarily just start laying people down in the street, laying down fire. I have to have a reason. They were pointing something at me. Right? Trouble, problems. I thought it was a gun. It was a phone. It was a shiny object. And you end up losing your freedom in your house. So a lot of things wrong with this. That's why I thought it'd be a good video. This is what's going to happen to these ICE agents running around. Because you're running around. If I get up 4 o'clock in the morning and I see a guy with a high top and some green on, cancel Christmas.
It's over.
Christmas. That's all I got.
I hear you. Good points. Good points. Indeed, like you said, you've been a task force supervisor, so this is the sort of thing that is right up your wheelhouse, and you were at the top of the food chain when it came to accountability for everybody that was underneath you. So we really appreciate that perspective. Mark, what's on your mind?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to attack this a little differently. So as a supervisor, once everything is done in police work, it then goes to Kyle's world. It goes to court. Okay. You get somebody who gets shot, officer-wise, the defense is going to turn around and say, hey, my guy thought it was a gang of guys coming to his house and he was protecting himself. And then when she gets this type of case and looks at the evidence and sees how everybody was dressed, she shakes her head like, how unprofessional are you guys? Nobody looks like a cop. You do look like a bunch of thugs. How are they supposed to know who's who? And if the cops can't tell who the good guys are, how can the knuckleheads tell? And this is something that we have, I guess, under the current administration, they've allowed them to just do whatever they want. Mass, no ID, or just very bare minimum. Everybody's wearing black now. Black is the color, whether wearing a hoodie or whatever. Everybody's wearing the same thing. So how are you supposed to figure this out? And then she just shakes her head, being Kyle, and saying, how am I supposed to handle this? How am I supposed to justify what you officers do when you guys handle it the way you did? And everybody's right as far as getting together with the task force, finding out who's who. If you don't have enough identifying stuff, and we worked in a village, so if somebody came into the village, normally you would also have village officers show up, so at least the residents know what's going on and see, it's Hempstead Police. They may see other people, but they feel a little more relaxed when they see the local police are there. So then they kind of figure it's legit. That's all I got.
Well, and once again, bringing that perspective as a police chief, invaluable to the discussion. Derek.
Yeah.
You're up.
First and foremost, as far as being an officer is concerned, being in a task force is a dangerous thing. And you can increase the danger personally by not wearing attire that identifies you. You should wear something that's identifiable. I think it was Rich who said, like raid jackets, the hats and things like that. And if other agencies are going to be involved, then whoever the supervisor of that agency is needs to send competent people. And as a supervisor, whether it's a field supervisor or a desk officer, we all know who the hot dogs are and we know who the scared people are. And every command has them. You have your weasels and you have your hot dogs, and everyone knows who they are. You definitely don't want to send any of those people. And before you send any of those people, as the supervisor that's representing that department, you just be better off telling the task force, we don't have the personnel to accompany you on that mission. If you need us, call us and we'll respond. And I think that's probably one of the wisest things you could do. And the other thing is this brought back memories to me of the Acorn cop and his sergeant. And I believe we showed that video on our show. I think it was somewhere down in Florida where a cop was locking up a guy. Actually, the guy was in the car. The cop had locked up the guy, cuffed him to the rear, put him in the back of his vehicle, and then an acorn fell from the tree and hit the car. And when the acorn fell, this guy started firing off a bunch of shots. The cop, he started screaming. He was crawling on the ground saying, "I'm hit," dragging his leg. He wasn't hit. So I don't know what the hell he thought happened to him. But an acorn hit the car. He called for backup. And when his sergeant arrived, female sergeant, she said, "What's happening?" And he said, "He shot at me." And she, without looking, without blinking, without thinking, she drew her weapon from a holster and fired a bunch of shots at the car. She never heard a shot, never saw a shot, never saw a threat. She couldn't even see the guy because she was shooting from a distance. But there are people out there that panic. And obviously this lady was one of them. And certain things happen also. And I can give you, well, there are two stories I can give you. One, back in the early 80s, I want to say it was like 84, 85, we used to have to wear the 8-point hats, and we had to have our hat on all the time. And working in the subway in the summertime, it was hot as hell with those hats on. Another thing about it, they made part of our uniform, I think from May through the end of September, baseball caps. But the baseball cap said NYC TPD on it. And from the neck down, you were in full uniform with the baseball cap that said NYC TPD on it. And a police officer got shot at, I believe it was the Wilson Avenue train station. Somebody shot at him, and they got the guy, and they charged him with attempted murder 1, which is attempted murder of a police officer. and the DA wouldn't process it that way. The DA said this person wasn't recognized as a police officer because he had on a baseball cap. Even though the baseball cap had the department insignia on it, it wouldn't be processed that way. And and another thing that happened, which had nothing to do with the task force, I just thought it was really interesting. Back when I used to work in District 33, and this happened early in 1984, a lot of our cars were getting broken into. We had a parking lot that was across the street from our command, and a lot of cars were getting broken into. Fortunately, mine wasn't one of them, but one day I come into work, or one evening, because we were working 8 at night till 4 in the morning, and the desk officer, who was a lieutenant at the time, assigned me and another gentleman to sit in one of our cars in the parking lot, and hopefully we could catch this person that was breaking into cars. So 8 at night till 4 in the morning, we go out there at 8 p.m. It's already dark because it's wintertime, and we're sitting in my car. And Donald knows the other gentleman. His name is Kelvin Miles, and he used to live in Hempstead on Warner Avenue. And me and Kelvin are sitting in the car, and when the midnight crew starts coming into work, you could see people parking. We're sitting right in the parking lot in plain view with, like the windows are up, but we're sitting there talking, and you see a few people corner eye us and whatnot. They go inside, and after about 6 or 7 different people came in to start the midnight tour, all of a sudden, a gang of people come out with their guns drawn, pointed at my car. And with them was the lieutenant that assigned us. And I just simply rolled my window down, and I said, Lieutenant, you told us to be out here. And he was like, oh, okay, it's you guys. And like, if it was someone else, what the hell do you think we'd be doing out there? Because that was our assignment. But he actually came out with his gun drawn too, and he's the one that assigned us out there. So sometimes it's silly season when you're dealing with these police departments. And that's just one of the examples. That's all I have.
Next, Cheech, talk to us.
Yeah, I have a question for the supervisors and Kyle. Thank God this wasn't worse, that this officer survived. But 14 shots, after 2-3 shots, my life is in danger. Would he have been justified in firing back even though he knew it was an officer shooting at him? Because that 14 shots, that's, you can't just sit there and take it.
He would have been justified, but if other people there didn't recognize him, or there's at least one other cop there in uniform that wasn't part of his task force team, he might have encountered more fire.
Yeah, possibility. That's a good question. Real good question. JT, what's on your mind?
Oh boy, if you only knew. I want to thank everybody for the prayers. I just want to thank everybody for the prayers you've been giving me and my family, especially my wife. I've been in that position, not laying on the ground crawling. But before Dee missed this, I don't know if they did it or not. Before each search warrant, raid, or whatever, there's what they call a briefing, where everybody get to see who's there. Even the uniform cops get called in off the street. You're going to do a perimeter. This is JT. He's going to make a buy. He's going to come out. I used to make it a habit to wear the same Chicago Bulls jacket every night. Every night. During the day in the summer, it was another shirt. But you can't really blame her for shooting this guy because she didn't know him. If she had known him, she wouldn't have shot. But did she fire 14 shots?
Yeah.
Yes.
She fired 14 shots at this guy.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's like work,
Was
man.
that-
God, she was retired after that.
Was that her first or second day on the job?
Exactly, JT.
That was the last day.
Exactly.
She shouldn't have been there, first of all. I think AC said that's not a perimeter. If a guy jump out a window, he gone. She too close to him. She can't catch him. She might shoot him, but I think the whole thing was wrong. You start with a briefing. Everybody gets to see who's there, who's going to be well. And a briefing is, if the house, you're on the street. You're not right up against the house. Because I had an incident on Sycamore. We was doing a raid on a house. 2 floors. I had the perimeter. I was in a vacant lot. Guy jumped out the window, which we thought nobody would do. 2nd floor, he jumped out the window and started running. He ran right towards me. I said, freeze, please. I got my jacket on, gun out. He wants to keep running. I put 2 in the ground. He stopped, hit the ground. I wasn't shooting at him, but I shot 2 in the ground. I didn't want to do the paperwork shooting him. And that was it. But that was a scary situation that them guys faced. And everybody said they look like hoodlums. They were white, so I guess the black guy got shot by. I'm surprised the girl with the gun didn't shoot him, because he must have been the first one in the door and the first one out the door. It's just a bad situation.
The girl did shoot him.
She did shoot him. The girl inside did shoot him.
So the first shot that he took, was that from the girl in the garage?
In the garage, yes.
Okay. So let me. I was in watching this, and of course the video goes fast, and I think we all agree it's relatively low light. Correct. Right. So here's the way. How many task force members were there? We know it was 3. The 2 white, so it was 3, and then 2 uniforms, right?
Yep.
First of all, you don't have enough to form a perimeter around the whole house because you got 4 corners. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is you don't have a spotter on that house to be monitoring what's coming and going, because somebody should have been putting out the notice, hey, the target's coming out of the house. Because you saw what happened, the time and the way it played out. The target comes out, he sees somebody. We don't know if he knew that they was cops or rival or whatever case is, but he knew he didn't want that smoke. So he goes back in the house. You do not follow anybody. You don't follow a snake in their den unless you are a mongoose. And they mount mongooses. So you, as the guy said in the commentary, you back out, you secure the perimeter, you call in additional resources, because now you have a barricaded subject in the house. But here's where it gets a little thick for me. If the black guy was the first one at the door going in the garage, and then the other 2 officers were behind him, the 2 uniforms had been dispersed to watch perimeter to the extent that they could. When we hear gunshots, what do we all do, you all? We converge on the source of the gunshots, do we not? Even if we've got a perimeter set up or whatnot, without any specific instructions, if we hear gunshots, we go to where the gunshots are. So the first shot that the officer took was from the young lady that no one even knew she was in play. And the uniform officer, the only person that she knew was in play was the picture of the guy that was the target of the search warrant. So even with them coming out, if she's coming back around, she sees 2 come out. And then she sees someone on the ground because he's already been shot by the woman inside the garage. I'm not justifying all the shots or the fact that she shot him at all. But given that he was down next to the car, in between the car and the garage door, low light, she didn't see it from the start. And the fact that she saw possibly the other 2 run out, even if all she sees is a black guy. And again, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to take a step and kind of view this from her eyes. I can kind of understand mindset why she might have perceived him as a threat. Now, the 14 shots, you're right. I can't go along with that at all. But when you look at the totality of the circumstances, it's low light, shots fired. There's a person that she doesn't know is in play. 2 individuals that she knows are part of the task force come out. The 3rd individual is the same complexion and race of the target, and he's on the ground. That's the only thing that kind of comes to mind for me.
Did the female that fired the shot, the first shot, did she get shot?
We don't know.
I don't
No,
think so. I don't
she
think
did.
so.
And she didn't because she was probably back in the garage.
Was it nobody
Jim, I see your hand up. What's on?
Yeah, I just jump on what you were saying because I didn't give that any thought either in my original comments. Not justifying her shooting him 14 times at all, but besides everything you just said, he's an agent. He probably had his gun out as well. The guy that was shot and was crawling out. I believe we know he's armed. So she may have seen this individual thinking it is the perp, and he has a gun, and trying to figure out how this defense is going to go, as Mark was bringing up before. The defense on this, if I'm her attorney, that's going to play a major factor in the justification of her shooting.
Yeah. Mark.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to also address what Cheech's question. He asked about would he be justified shooting back? When you're in those types of, and I'm just assuming now, I wasn't there, I wasn't in those guys' heads. But the last thing you expect is to get shot by your own. So if you hear a shot and you get hit, you're going to crawl to what you perceive as safety, which is your other officers. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why. Plus, he wanted to get out of that garage. Unfortunately, it was the officers who were shooting. The other thing I want to address is I think Jim had mentioned it, or someone mentioned it. You get kind of sympathetic shooting where you hear shots. The excuse my language, the oh shit factor comes in, and you just start shooting. And I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying it happens as a reaction. And a lot of times you don't realize how many shots you've actually taken because your mind and your reflex faster than, you're not on television, 1, 2, 3. You're not doing that. You're panicking, basically. Even though you're a cop, you still panic. And a lot of times, and then you're also hearing someone else shooting. So now you don't know if it's the bad guy shooting or the good guy shooting. But you're panicked, and then your finger is faster than your brain. So that's why a lot of times in shootouts, officers will actually empty their gun. And if they don't physically stop and look to see that the slide is back, they don't even know they're out of bullets. So that's why you'll see that. And that's why in court, even though in the media, the officer shot 17 times, the courts really don't jump on that because they understand that premise that, the police will bring in experts to back up what I'm saying as far as, your finger goes. You'll ask the officer, how many shots did you shoot? I shot 4 or 5. And then they'll check his gun, 11, 12, 15 rounds. It's a scientific fact that happens. And like I said, when you have now other bullets, you can't hear. Those bullets are loud. And those shots are loud, rather. And you can't tell who's firing, whether it's friendly or the bad guy. You're just trying to kind of shoot until the shooting stops. So I just wanted to say those two things.
I just want to give some context really quick because I don't want to beat this up. The word you were looking for, Mark, was contagious fire. That's what that is, contagious fire. Somebody starts shooting and you just start shooting. The other thing you were talking about was the trauma response when you fire. Really quick, when you experience any trauma, everything speeds up. That's why you don't know how many times you shot, because you're taking in more information than you can actually process. That's why you say 4 and it ends up being 17. You just wanted to explain that really quick. But the thing I really wanted to say before Mark said that was, I looked around the room and there's 4 or 5 different agencies here. So I want to know. I've been trained firearm for 40 years now. I've never heard the command empty your gun. Can anybody? North Carolina, New York City, Hempstead, can I get Hempstead, can I get another New York City cop, can I get another, anybody at all? Have you ever heard the command empty your gun? I'm going to tell you what the state police is taught. You take 2 shots, called a double tap, you reevaluate. Right? Got to know what you're shooting at, right? So you take 2, got to know what you're shooting at, then you reevaluate. Guy could have body armor on, you got to change your tactics up. You know what I'm talking about. We have a situation here where law enforcement officers are emptying their gun. Yep. I searched. I went back. I got some records here. We never had an empty gun. Actually, we're taught not to have an empty gun.
Exactly.
You're taught not to let your gun go empty. You got to count your shots. You got to know when it's time to reload. And before you go empty, you're supposed to reload. So I don't know. Maybe that's another agency thing. And maybe you got to check the training, as Jerry said, with the training. What kind of training is this? Listen, there are things we know that these officers are doing that's wrong. There's no way you're going to take 14 shots.
That's work.
Yeah.
14 shots?
Ty, you got something to drop on top
Can
of
I
that?
jump real quick, because all the Hempstead guys will attest to this. We had to go to the 3-foot line, push the target, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, assess. They drill that into our head.
Right, that's the training.
Like it was nothing with it. Push the target, like we were close proximity, push the target, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stepping back, and then assess. 14 shots is work, bro. That's like lifting weights, man. What are you doing? That's why I want to jump on these schools back with that training thing.
Gotcha. JT, you're up.
Yeah, I just want to compliment on what D said. We did a search warrant on West Marshall. I was the 3rd person in. We're trained. The first person child goes to the back. I open the door. Behind the door is another bedroom. Out comes a pit bull. I don't know he's on a chain. I was supposed to check the bathroom. Straight ahead. There's another guy behind me. He said, "Oh shit, a pit." I turn around, put 2 in his head. I didn't empty my fucking gun. The guy behind me could have got shot. If I hadn't been aiming low at the pit bull, 14 shots, I'd have probably killed everybody in the house. That's all.
I'm calling Peter. I'm calling Peter on you, JT.
Calling who?
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, the folks that come get you when you mistreat animals. Derek, what's up?
Yeah.
He was at the
I just
curb.
want to say that. I just want to say that no matter how people are trained, and this doesn't stand for everyone, but there are those that completely abandon the way they've been trained when they get into an emergency situation. And Dave brought up the Derwin Pennell shooting earlier. And so Derwin Pennell was out there with his partner. His partner was Kenny Donnelly, who left New York City Transit Police Department, went to Nassau County. He became a Nassau County officer. Derwin and Kenny had someone up on the wall. Kenny was actively searching while Derwin was holding the person at gunpoint. These 3 officers, and I remember the officers' names. It was Mike Green, John Napolitano, and Barbara Jessberger. They rolled up on the scene, and they were off post. They rolled up in an officer's personal car, and the officer used to drive a 64 Impala. Barbara Jessberger was sitting in the back. It was a 2-door car, so she was the last one out, so she didn't fire her gun. But Green was one of the people that was part of the pilot project for the 9mm at the time. It was like 3 people in the command that would get them, and they were part of a pilot project, and the rest of us still had 38. So he had his, Napolitano had a 38. Both of them emptied their guns, both of them. And that's why they were, if you ever pull up an article, there were 21 shots fired at Derwin Pennell. It was 15-6. They both emptied their guns, or it was 16-5 because Napolitano was carrying his off-duty, not his service. But they both emptied their guns, and we weren't trained to do that. And they both did it. But fortunately, they hit Pennell 2 or 3 times. I think twice in the vest and once outside of the vest. So he lived. He wasn't the same. He was like partially paralyzed in one of his arms and whatnot. But they abandoned their training completely. And
didn't he have the color of the day on, D?
He had the color. Yeah, they had the color of the day on. Yeah,
color of the day on. Yeah.
So
they were in
the
plain clothes. They were doing 4 hours overtime before their tour, working in plain clothes, and that's what happened.
Explain to our listeners what the color of the day is, because I understand that.
The color of the day they give is like green and white, orange. They tell you the color of the day during your roll call, whatever precincts you are. This is for identification purposes for other cops to know that you are an officer.
Right.
Okay. You wear a wristband. You put it on your wrist. Okay. Some people put it on their heads, but you put it on your wrist, and you got to stay familiar with the color of the day. And you put that in your memo book. Color of the day is this. Okay, that.
The color of the day. Let's say, for instance, I got it on something that might not readily be visible, and it's getting thick, and I say green, green, green. Can you speak the color of the day as well?
You could speak it, but you're supposed to wear. If you're in plain clothes, you're supposed to have what I did was I bought a bunch of wristbands, and at like every color. So the colors would be red, orange, yellow, blue, purple, brown, and I had all of those colors in wristbands. And I worked in plain clothes. I would wear a wristband, and then if something happened, I'd make sure it was showing. But the officers that are in uniform, it's read to them at roll call, and they're supposed to take note of it. And if they come across any situations, they're supposed to look for that color of the day.
Okay.
Hey, Derek, didn't WBLS say the color of the day a lot on radio?
WBLS used to say it every day. They sure did.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple of comments from JT. I'll be right to you, but we got a couple of comments. Richard Bowden says the amount of shots fired goes down to training. There is a component with that, Richard. And Brian Kemp says when an officer emptied their gun, is that out of fear as well? D, you made a very interesting point, and other folks on the panel said as well. There is a component of training that encourages us to fire in a deadly force situation and then reassess. But there's another conflicting component that a lot of us have heard is you keep shooting until the threat is neutralized.
Right.
And I've heard that in training. Well, we associate neutralizing threat as either it's no longer moving or it's compliant. That's how you associate whether or not it's no longer a threat. So when you have someone that language has been utilized in their training, that is probably going to be the prevailing thought that lingers with them. JT, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to ask the supervisors that worked at Hempstead, did we ever have a color today? You say yeah, Jim?
I believe we did.
Wow.
What was it, black?
No, it was it was different. We had a color of the day.
The color. Good.
Whenever I did turnout, whoever my sergeant did turnout, the color of the day was announced, and because we matched Nassau County, whatever Nassau County color of the day was our color of the day.
I guess we didn't get it in investigations because we never showed up.
Well, yeah, it was actually done. Nassau County, they made the color of the day. Okay. It was their color of the day, but we all our guys were told what it was.
Well, y'all, let's move
You didn't listen to WBLS, so you didn't hear it.
Let's move into the next video with Omaha, Nebraska, unless someone has a closing comment on this one. Sustain. D.
All right, we're going to go to
Omaha.
Really quick. The video is really good to explain what happens. But three officers got hurt, and the perpetrator was shot in Omaha. I think yesterday, if not the day before. Let's take a look.
Advising people to avoid the area around 32nd and L, and several streets are closed as officers investigate the shooting.
With more on that, let's go to KTV News Watch 7's Maddie Augustine. Maddie.
Yeah, Rob Quinicia, we are right across the street from that Quick Trip. I want to give you a look at the scene right now. In just the last few minutes since we heard from Omaha Police Chief Todd Schmatter, we have seen multiple investigators and officers focusing on this right side door. That is a side entrance to the gas station. There has been a lot of time spent there and a lot of time examining things that are on the ground. Now, we're too far away to see exactly what they are looking at, but you can assume that there is something that happened in that specific spot related to where the shooting took place, possibly inside the gas station or right outside of it. And also, this scene is still very large. We have said it, but this traffic is getting backed up. You're now looking at 33rd Street. You can see that steady stream of traffic as police are trying to let all of these people get through this intersection, but no one is able to go past 33rd Street down L. It is closed all the way down to 30th, and traffic there is also being backed up now over to the exit ramps from the interstate. Cars are only able to turn right or left. You cannot go straight once you get off onto L Street. So if you are headed this direction, if you're headed home, if you're headed to work, if you're headed to pick up your kids, find a different route because you will be stuck in traffic for quite some time. We've seen some cars wait in this line for longer than 10 minutes because this scene is still so active and so large, and you can expect investigators and officers to be here for quite some time as well. We have yet to see any movement as terms to whether or not that suspect has been removed from the gas station yet, so they will be here for some time. So please avoid this area until you hear otherwise. Send it back to you guys in studio.
Okay, let me give some context really quick. If that's all right, Will, you good?
Absolutely.
I just want to get some context. The video kind of didn't give any details. Apparently, the detectives were tracking a vehicle. The suspect went into the Quick Trip, went into the bathroom, and when he came out of the bathroom, he came out shooting. The three officers got injured, and the suspect was unalived. The crux of this story was there were people in the Quick Trip walking around through the shots. We were just talking about it. It was a good segue from the other shooting. That people were between shots. They were walking in and out of the Quick Trip, and a good conversation. And this is all I want to say about this one is stay out of the fray. I don't know. I'm sorry I have to say this, but if you hear shots, get down, stay put. Walking in, they're shocked that other people didn't get shot because it happened a lot of times. They were just walking out. Oh, I gotta get to work. I gotta get out amongst the shots. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I had.
So, and just to add an additional context, my understanding is the reason why that vehicle and that person was the target was he was suspected of having shot someone previous at a different location. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah.
So. And here's the thing, and maybe everybody might not agree, but when you've got a suspect that has already demonstrated their willingness to use deadly force, and they're in a public place, you have the benefit of surprise. You don't take them down or try to take them down in a public place where they are not actively engaging in harming individuals. You try to get them out, let them get back in the car, do a car takedown. But I'm kind of struggling in my mind why they would even make themselves known to the suspect to even trigger that shootout in a public place with so many people around. Dave, you got your hand up. You're on mute.
A couple of things real fast. You know, D School, you're absolutely right, man. It amazes me whenever the cops get into a gunfight with somebody, everybody wants to walk around and see what's going on. But when two asshole drug dealers go at it in the street, everybody's scattering like roaches. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Will, to respond to you, that motherfucker could have been too dangerous to let back into that car. They should have emptied that place out and kept isolated his ass into the bathroom. They could have hopefully done that if they had time. But he might have been too dangerous. Now, New York City, you ain't letting them get back in that car because now you got to chase through neighborhoods and tight streets. You know, you want to corner him where you can corner him. But it's a bad situation. You're absolutely right, Will. But man, if that was me, I have to corner him in the bathroom. I'm not letting him get back in that car, especially New York cars, because our shit's gonna go about 55, 60 miles an hour. This ain't Arkansas State Police when them boys got the 155 mile an hour Hellcats. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying. So I don't know, Will. People just want to see. People are going to cause themselves to get a hole in their ass just to see what the cops are doing. It's like rush hour traffic, bro. Cop got a car stopped 2 miles down the road. Everybody want rubberneck.
Yeah.
Everybody want rubberneck. What the cops doing? Soon as the guys getting a shootout at a party at a park, oh shit, run! I mean, come on. I don't know. I would try to keep him in that bathroom, man. I'm better off with him in there. I don't know. He seemed like he's a dangerous bastard, man. To get him back in that car, he's gonna be hell bent getting out of hitting that gas down to the floor and shooting probably. I don't know.
I feel your point. I feel your point, Dave. Completely well received. The problem is with the car being in a parking lot like that, you might not have a Hellcat, but if you got enough personnel to be able to block points of exit, and you got a better chance of setting up a plan once he walks back outside to keep people safe inside. To me, you seem to have a better plan if you let him come back out to his car than you do with a convenience store with a boatload of people and bullets start flying. Nobody knows where they're going. It looks like everybody's running to see what's going on, but they don't know which way to run to get out.
And if he grab a hostage, then you can't shoot.
Everybody's a hostage in that situation because
they stupid hostages. They walking in the doorway, they shooting.
And from a tactical standpoint, the question is going to be asked, why, under the circumstances, did you choose to go in to try to take this person down with so many innocents around? Yeah. That's going to be a question that gets asked. Any more thoughts on this one? Jim, you leaned in. I thought you would get ready to say something.
Toby.
That's got to be the fastest one that we've ever had, John. Dave,
I was laughing at you, man.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else about this one, moving right along, D. I believe our next one up is our recurring story about ICE and their escapades.
Yeah, ICE, baby. Listen.
Too cold.
That's it. They're down in New Orleans now. I want everybody to, I want to do it, not a trigger alert, but I want you to watch the police officers. That's all I want you to do. Once there's stuff happening with
D. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna give them a pass to call them police officers. These are ICE officers.
Okay.
I ain't gonna give them a pass.
The guys in tactical gear, semi-tactical gear.
There you go.
Take a look and you tell me what you see. I think it'll spark a good conversation. Let's take a look.
Gum.
Right there.
It's a gum run now, guys. Gum run.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Those and many other areas that you were in today.
I've heard you say before that you determined
weeks, months. Bueno, como pueden ver, no está respondiendo preguntas, compañeros. Le hemos preguntado quién exactamente está buscando aquí en esta fiesta con Pico. Le hemos
The
preguntado
uniform.
por participación cuánto
Lack
tiempo.
thereof.
How long is this operation going to last? We're with Univision. How long is this operation going to last, sir?
I'm not going to tell you again.
Yeah, his papers.
Okay, so we're good to go. Roll out.
Oh, dale, 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 dale. Dale, 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 rápido, rápido.
Damn. Come with it.
Well, first thing I see, I watch this. I just can't believe this is the United States. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. I mean, this looks like a military assault. It's just not only the optics, but the dangerous conditions that are set up by these ICE raids, and the word police on their back. What police? Are they local police? Are they FBI? Are they ICE? Are they marshals? Who the hell are they? You know, I don't even know if they're police of any kind. There's just everything I just saw is so wrong, and it's my fear is there's going to be serious injuries and some killings involved because of this stuff. It's with these ICE raids. You know, the original Trump thing about we're going to deport all convicted, serious criminals. That's long gone, long gone. That doesn't exist anymore. It's now we're going to deport anybody that we think may be an undocumented alien. It's gone way beyond what everybody thought the original purpose of these roundups were going to be. It's now a numbers game. He wants to have more numbers than anybody else. He wants to get rid of all brown people out of the country. And now, who's he working on? Now he's working on the Somalians. Let's get them all out of the country. Haitians, get them all out of the country. This is not the United States that I remember. That's all I really have to say.
And you know, Jim, the point that you make there, we all know the process of an investigation, trying to bring you to reasonable suspicion, probable cause, and the requirements that are necessary for you to focus on a target to make an arrest. That's not what this is. And like you mentioned a second ago, if they're not doing any upfront investigation to specifically identify who their targets are, taking you back to the Obama administration, where they would like to say, well, that administration deported however many millions of people out of the country. But you can go back and see a trail of investigations that justifies why each and every one of those individuals were deported. They had their due process. They had their day in court. And I know all of us have had somebody tell us, I know you all got a quota. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing from this administration is a quota.
Yes.
And the only thing a quota does is to try to justify and uphold an agenda. And in this case, a very unlawful and what should be considered an extremely un-American, unconstitutional agenda. Dave, what you got?
Yeah, that was the Border Patrol. And the guy leading that group, okay, is a Border Patrol boss who perjured himself to a federal judge in Chicago. And then he ran out of there and went down to Charlotte. And then he hit New Orleans. Okay, that guy's ass is going to be in jail. Trump ain't going to, you watch. Trump might have all this immunity hooked up with the Supreme Court, but every dumbass under him is going to be getting locked up. Stephen Bannon said it. He said, if those Democrats win the House or Senate, a lot of us are going to jail. You damn right you're going to jail. Okay, the stuff they're doing, beating up people in the street, shooting reverends and priests to the top of the head with guns, with rubber bullets and all kinds of stuff. Come on, man. This ain't America. Going up there, telling those Somalians, most of them who were born here, who came over here legit, got green cards, jobs, give money, pay money to the community, okay, telling them they're garbage.
Yeah.
Including their children. Garbage.
Yeah.
So how the hell do you feel about my black ass? I'm garbage too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's disgusting. And those punk ass cowards walk around with fucking face masks on because they're too embarrassed to say that their own families and their friends and neighbors see them. Okay, that's another thing. Wearing ski masks like you're some kind of damn thug in the street. Man, we could never pull that as uniform cops. We couldn't pull it as detectives. You had to have your ID card on you at all times. Anybody can have a badge, but let me see your ID card. You know, it's going to take years to fix this shit, man. I'm done. Yeah.
And, you know, like you said, years to fix this. And that's why when we were talking earlier, anytime anybody watching our show, I expressly want to delineate for them what you're seeing is not police work. That's not police work, the representation that we stand for, that we did over the course of our careers, and that what the majority of officers are doing right now. That's not what you're seeing. But unfortunately, we got to deal with the backlash on it. D, what's on your mind?
5,000.
Lies.
That's the number Trump wanted out of New Orleans. We talking about a quota, 5,000. Now, you going after the criminals. I'm gonna go a step further and say the criminals are gone.
Yeah,
they gone already. Ain't but 6 of them. They're gone. If you were able to catch them, and now you're looking for 5,000. 5,000 what? You picking these guys up off the roof, out of the fields. Listen, you know, I always say I've been a law enforcement officer for 40 years. Each one of those guys had a different uniform on. That's why I wanted you guys to look different. Even the ones that said the same thing, it was different uniforms. I'm from the New York State Police. Have anybody in here ever seen 2 state police officers standing in the same place with 2 different outfits on? Okay, let's do it better. You seen 3? How about 6? No. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
If you get caught doing something and you don't have there's certain things that identify us. You don't have it out and showing. You gonna take a hit. For Jerry in the room, that means you in trouble. Trouble. If you don't have your insignia on the outside, everybody knows who everybody is. You're gonna take a hit. So I get when I said to watch them, I want to watch them. They're scared. There were 12 of them I counted. I was looking for one confident Border Patrol officer, and you said there was a Border Patrol supervisor. He wasn't acting like a supervisor. There's some.
Yep, he's the main one.
There's some supervisors in this room. I don't gotta tell you Jim's name, but we know Jim is in charge. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody gotta say nothing about Mark. Mark is in charge. There's something that we as law enforcement officers know, because we get caught we know who the bosses are, we know who to follow, we know who getting orders. Those guys look like a band of scared little lunch money victims. They're walking around, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. I don't know, what was that guy standing near the driver's door? What, you gonna take the bullet first? What are you standing there for? The boss is, so I just want to say to the Border Patrol officers, if you happen to watch this video, I'm going to put it on YouTube. We know you're scared. We know you don't know what you're doing. We know you're lying. We know you're wrong. And to the public out there, keep filming them. Keep filming them. Put them up. Share them. Share this video. Share it everywhere so everybody can see what these people are actually doing. Because I think... Who said it? Maybe Dave, maybe Jim said it. Listen, this guy's gonna get out of office, and y'all are gonna have hell to pay. You have no idea the level of foolishness that they're letting you get involved with. Y'all are gonna fill up the jail with your foolishness.
Put their ass in Angola.
Right, right.
Our time is drawing tight, but I got 2 comments I'd like to get in because I really need the input from the group. So one of our own, Kyle, says the advocacy from the community is growing, and this may be where mishaps start happening, especially when ICE starts targeting the Haitian community. There were some in the street during this standoff, and there were some that whisked those men away. So yes, you do have some individuals who are standing up to them. Unfortunately, I'm scared that there's going to be some harm to come to some people before it gets better. But this is the one that I really want us to marinate on for the last few minutes we have. Our good friend, Richard Bowden. Will one of you people please come up with a better way to deport illegal immigrants? Your bitching is getting old. So I got something on my mind, but I defer to someone else. I see 2 hands up. Cheech, you, then Rich.
Yeah, I had this talk with a lot of friends and family when the president was talking about going after criminals. And I said from the get-go, this is going to affect all of us. No, they said, it's only criminals they're going after. I said, no, you watch and see. And exactly what I said is happening. People told me, you got nothing to worry about because you're one of the good guys. You're one of us. My coworker said, no, my skin is brown. Nobody knows what I've done with my life. Nobody knows who I am out of uniform. I agree 100% with getting rid of criminals, violent criminals. But that's not what's happening. That's not what they're doing. And the public, I don't think, sees that. Yes, our immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed. From the get-go. You come here, you get put on probation for a couple of years, you stay out of trouble, then you get your residency. Then after a couple more years, you can apply to become a citizen, some sort of platform. But people don't understand also the length of time that it takes to do everything the right way. And the people that are getting picked up, and I'm speaking from personal experiences, and you guys know why, are people that are doing everything the right way, that have never been arrested, that don't have so much as a parking ticket, yet they're being picked up just to fill quotas, just to get numbers, and then it's starting to affect the general public. It's starting to affect U.S. citizens. But who do you go to complain to? And you said it right. These are not officers. These are not police officers, but it's making all law enforcement look bad because everybody is now having mistrust of everybody in uniform. And I don't blame them, and then when something does happen to someone who is a citizen, who they go and break your window just because you were filming or because you honked the horn, and they break your window, you go to, make a complaint. Who do you go to? There's nobody to go to. They don't even make reports after they're involved in incidents with the public. So there's nobody to go to and make a complaint. You don't have a name of the officer. You don't even have a face to go with it because their faces are covered up. So this is not the America I know. It's ridiculous. The Latino community is suffering. People have no idea how much. When this was going on in Charlotte, other cities were on edge. Weren't going to work, weren't sending their kids to school. And people said, well, schools are a safe zone. Okay, yeah, that's true. But you still have to drop off and pick up your kid. You still got to go to the bus stop. Those are not safe zones. So, of course, they're going to stop sending their kids to school and not taking them to school, not even taking them to the bus stop because they're worried of stepping outside of their home. We have supermarkets that thankfully were saying, hey, we're not going to charge you. Just tell us what you need. We'll deliver it to your house for free. You just pay for your groceries, but we're going to deliver for free. Yeah, they're doing it out of kindness, but they're also doing it because they're losing business. Yeah. A lot of Latino restaurants closed because their employees weren't showing up. People are questioning, hey, how come my plumber hasn't come? My electrician, my roofer stopped coming. My roof is halfway finished and they're not here. My painters haven't finished their job. They're not showing up. Well, guess what? They're scared. And it's affecting everybody. Yes, immigration system has to be fixed. Yes, criminals, I agree, should be deported. Violent criminals, because a traffic infraction shouldn't be a reason for you to get deported. Or something you did 15 years ago, petty larceny, that's not a violent crime. The entire system needs to be revamped. It needs to be fixed. But this is not the way to go about it because it is affecting everybody. All these years that the police department is trying to gain the trust back of the community is going down the drain right now because we're all in that. Latinos see everybody as it's police. They don't there's no difference to them between ICE and Border Patrol and all entities. It's just police. So it's affecting everybody, and now we're losing that trust of our community. That's all I got.
I see your finger, Dave. I see your finger going.
Yeah, real fast, not to cut in on anybody. They systematically tore down the rest of what was left of the immigration system by firing all of those immigration judges now, who were trying to give these people due process. And they fired them all. Okay, and man, the fat orange bastard in the White House, 2 of his 3 wives came over here illegally. So who do we turn to?
Correct. Rich, I know we run over just a smidge, but yeah, I really think we need to keep this going to get these points out. Kyle, I ain't forgot about you over there. What's up, Rich?
You can let Kyle go before me. I just got something real quick.
Oh, okay.
Something. Go ahead, Kyle.
Kyle, you had a point to make?
Yeah, I was just going to respond to one of our listeners, and the comment about can somebody please tell us how to go about deporting, people who have remained here, who don't have proper status to remain here, and that is that you give them due process. We've been doing it for years. This is nothing new. We've had deportations since we've had immigration.
Right.
And so people are brought before a magistrate. They're given their due process. They prove they either can prove that they're rightfully here or not, and they're deported. It's every administration prior to this one has gone through that process. We have thousands and thousands of people who are deported every year. And so that's how to do it. This Gestapo tactic that they're doing now, rounding people up at random and taking them to God knows wherever, is not necessary. I mean, the question is almost posed as if there's no other way to do it. Well, we've been doing it.
Right.
And those Congress needs to act and come up with a better way of granting people legal status and streamlining the process so that it doesn't take years and years and years, and make it manageable. Not by firing all the magistrates and dismantling the infrastructure that has been built up to handle these situations. That's the wrong way to do it. So I just reacted because that question just, pained me, as if, there is no other way to do it. We've been doing it. There is a process in place. It's faulty and needs a significant updating and upgrading, and we need new law behind it all. And it needs to evolve from where it was, because it truly was not working properly. All that's been said, but that doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater and do this horrific thing that they're doing now. And that's all.
Exactly. Thank you. We really appreciate that, Kyle. As everybody knows, Kyle is our legal eagle on this corner, and all of us are a voice of reason. But we know Kyle is the quiet type, so we know when she speaks, it's like E.F. Hutton. Everybody's gonna listen. So, yeah, I know you got to be a certain age in order to know about E.F. Hutton. But Rich, I know we're a little bit over, but I'd like to get your point in before we close out.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's why I wanted Kyle to go ahead, because I know she had something pointed to say. I have an overall comment. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a state of lawlessness. And it's not the public, it's the government. Mm-hmm. And this is being driven by quotas. And if there's not enough bad guys to get, they start getting good people. It's a sad state. The Turd Master said in his first term, people and it was border officials here where I live, San Diego, at the border of Mexico. He said, go ahead and violate people's rights. I'll pardon you later. And this is the mindset and the malaise that goes on in our government in their tactics. And the law enforcement officials are willing to break the law to gain the quota or do what their boss says. You see it happening everywhere. And the biggest thing that's happening right now, these boat strikes that are illegal. That's what I'm talking about, the lawlessness. And what you don't realize, Trump may be protected by the Supreme Court. He could do anything, even get SEAL Team 6 to take out one of his political opponents. And they bless that. The Supreme Court. I mean, how disgusting is that? We've reached a state of government lawlessness. And until we get this regime removed, it's going to continue. Sadly, we'll be talking about the same stuff over and over again, because that's how bad this government is going downhill. And law enforcement looks bad. We just do. because we're
Yeah.
all lumped in together. And these tactics that these idiots are using aren't what we were trained to do. There's no compassion or morals that go into their operations. It's all callous, unfeeling stormtroopers, brown shirts. They're hurting people. I mean, good people. And they're getting rid of the people that would be a check and balance. They got rid of all those good JAG officers so they can go ahead and do these illegal boat strikes. The double tap is illegal. Now, finally, Congress is waking up that that's murder. That's a war crime. Yes, this is what they do. And you got Trump just falling asleep on it and saying, yeah, just go do it. Yeah, let's take them all out. But that's against the law. And eventually we're going to get back to the point where these people are going to be held accountable. And you just can't say I was following orders. And the law enforcement specialists, supposedly of the ICE, you just can't say you're following orders when you're doing something illegal and wrong. That's all the commentary I have. I just know we've reached a point of lawlessness in government.
And like you said, Rich, it is quotas, but it is quotas predicated on fear, which goes over into bias, which goes over into hate. And that's where we are right now. So, Mr. Bowden, with regards to your perspective, we're going to keep bitching about this because this is what's impacting our communities. And this is what is reflective of a profession that all of us retired from, did so with honor. And we don't want to see anybody else have to wear that stain that these individuals are putting on their uniforms. Rev, I turn it back over to you.
All right, let me get back over here. All right, I'm back. I'm running around doing two things at the same time, but great show. Thank you. I know we went over today. We're sorry for going over. But the host felt like he needed to bring some points out. And so we extended just a little bit. But thank you so much, those on Facebook Live, for joining, especially those on this panel. Thank you for filling in. Thank you for covering for me today. We're praying for you. We're praying for your families. Pray for my family. Next week, I have 3 birthdays. When I first started talking about birthdays, Reverend Camp wasn't here. But on December the 9th, which would have been my son's 31st birthday, is also Reverend Lady Camp, Lorraine Camp's birthday is the same day on December the 9th. Mark and my wife share a birthday on December the 13th. And my granddaughter is December the 10th.
My wife had a birthday 2 days ago.
Oh, tell she we said happy birthday.
Will do.
Yeah, definitely. I try to keep up with this stuff. Sometimes I miss them here and there, but usually when I miss them, Mark will get it. But thank you guys for joining. I thought it was a great show. I was listening here and there. Thought it was a great show. Anybody want anything else before we close out?
Yeah, on the second, Aaron turned 17.
That 17 on the second, Aaron. 17. The grandkids getting old. Tell Aaron we said happy birthday. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Slow down.
You know what? When I slow down, I think I'm gonna go down. I'm serious, JT. Sometimes, when you have a certain pace, as soon as you slow down from that pace, you start fading away. And so I told my wife, I said, I go to the gym not only because I love going to the gym, I'm getting tired of going to the gym, but I also want to stay alive. So I go to the gym and lift some weights and do my cardio because I do want to stay alive. And listen, I'm 63 years old. I go up in there's guys in their 20s that can't do what I'm doing in that gym.
All right,
I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying it to say that, listen, I've been staying in shape since I was a kid, and I just have not stopped. And I'm scared to stop. You know what I'm saying? So,
I didn't say stop. I said slow down.
I know, but slowing down for me is almost stopping. But listen, thank you, JT. I appreciate it, and you always remind me of that. And don't think I'm ignoring it, because there are some things I can slow down in, and I do. So I do appreciate you paying attention and warning me of that kind of stuff. All right, you guys stay blessed, be blessed. Reverend Kent, you want to shut us down? You want to close us out?
We are thankful for this day, and we thank you for every home that's represented. I pray that you would continue, Lord, to keep our health intact, and certainly for our family as well. I pray that you would cover them with your love and your grace, and certainly your mercy. I pray, Lord, that we would also keep in mind that this government should always be prayed for. There is that wonderful scripture that gives us pause to think, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. I pray, Lord, that you would never, ever turn your back on America. And we are thankful for what this country has done. But at the same time, Lord, we do not want to see this country fall into dire situation, as we have witnessed in Nazi Germany and many countries. So, Lord, please keep us and protect us. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. Those on Facebook Live, thank you so much. See you next week. All right.